Long time no see. Without your love, I'm lonely. I miss you. It's too hard to bear. What have you done to me? I'm waking up in the middle of the night without you.
Oh, yes, you always wake up in the middle of the night, or in the middle of the day, whatever the time, because voice of Liberia uh, runs through your mind, body, soul, vein, blood, which just pulsate throughout your existence. We got the issues to talk about, but as it is the custom of this show, we appeal to ourselves, guiding against any form of electoral violence. That campaign is all about the intellect. Campaign is all about selling your manifesto. And the manifesto is the product that you got to sell. The product, once you are convinced that it is well prepared, ingredient enough, palatable enough, you are convinced that it will be bought without reservation and hesitation. That's what it is all about. Campaign is not about being provocative. Campaign is not about confusion. In every campaign atmosphere, we understand violence, emotions will run high. But this is where maturity, this is where people see how strong you are. You want to stay clear of everything violent. You want to stay within the ambit of intellectualism. Sell your manifesto. Tell the people what you intend, how you intend to do it. When you get to the legislature, those that you are doing even before you can get to the legislature, that is exactly what the people want. The people do not want any rhetoric. Rhetoric is simply telling the people one thing and doing another thing. Tell them strictly. If it is within your platform that you will build 2 hospitals, tell them you will build 2 hospitals. Guide again. Speak to your speak to your supporters, your fanatics, your loyalists, the candidates. Appeal to them. Whatever the public address you got to make, use about 5 or 6 or 7 minutes appealing to them. Because if anything goes ultra at whatever the route, it affects you, the candidate. It affects you, the independent candidate. It affects you, the presidential candidate. It affects you, the party candidate. When the people get to realize that every time there's some kind of confusion associated with your party or your rally, guess what? They will start to change. People crisscross parties, persons, and institutions based on what they see. You don't only lost votes from debate, you lost votes from rally, and you lost votes from debate. These 2 places, key decisions are made, informed decisions are made from these 2 elements, the campaign and debate. So you want to protect your campaign. The protector of the campaign is the presidential candidate, the independent candidate, the legislative candidate, whatever the nomenclature. So you want to keep the image of your party, yourself, in a more comfortable, cordial, receptive manner so that you get the people's vote because it is only the vote that you want. So you want to stay clear, speak to your people. Everybody is a stakeholder. I am doing mine as a stakeholder. You do yours as stakeholder. The market woman on the table can appeal to somebody against nonviolent act. The pastor behind the pulpit can impute to his congregation against any violent act. The business person behind the counter, the politician, everybody is the stakeholder. Everybody got the responsibility to safeguard and protect. At the close of the day, you want to say to yourself, as a citizen, as a country, thank God Almighty, we had a violent free election and campaign, and now we are going into the election itself. It is a football game. Just take campaign, just like you see the football game. Everybody excited and everybody talking about their team. You hear the coaches talking about the tactics. They're talking about how they're going to approach the game. They don't want to know whether their opponent eat in the morning or the opponent didn't eat. They're concerned about their tactics, their strategy. That is exactly how campaign goes too. With that said, people, let's move now to our first talking point. But just so you know, at 3 o'clock, we talk with the founder and executive director of the Access to Justice and Legal Aid Program, Anthony at Law, Omisi Johnson. And we will look at the discussion would center on challenges faced by those they refer to as ordinary people in Liberia. I do not like to call them ordinary because they aren't, but it is the general flow now in accessing the legal system, and then the rule of law, human rights, and democracy vis-a-vis Liberia 2023 campaign and October 10th election. That will be at 3 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. So the rescue team or Unity Party over the weekend released their visitation itinerary. And what they had was several districts that they would visit or intended to visit. I say intended because I want to believe that they called off because they took off everything except for the presidential candidate, JNB or Joseph Yamambaka, who will be addressing the nation at 3:30 this afternoon. When it came out, they said they were going to visit, a visit, that's the word they use, visit, to the various districts. And the spokesperson of the party, Mo Ali, will have been the one to lead the team. That came out on Friday. And I said to myself, this is not a campaign strategy. Neither is it literate enough. Campaign, the face of the campaign is the standard bearer. The face of any political party in an election campaign is the standard bearer, not the spokesperson. The spokesperson only comes in when the need arises, but it is not the spokesperson that crisscross the electorate or the various districts nationally. It is the campaign, the presidential candidate is the one who does that. So they put it up. And then in a couple of hours, it was modified. They did a couple of changes to it. And then in no time, after a couple of hours again, it's removed. Probably they want the press conference or the interview by JNB to finish before. But here is it. I've said this over and over before my transition. Do not take this to mean that it's just intended to vilify, to condemn, or to be wishful of Joseph Yumabwaka. I have never ever attempted to take side with anybody, but rather the issue. If George Weah did something, President Weah would say. If Cummings did something good, would say, if whatever or whoever the candidate did, we say. That's what the microphone is all about. Serve everybody, speak to everybody's situation as professional as it ought to be, literally. So prior to my transition to this station, I have always said on or behind the microphone, having assessed Joe Walker and know what election is, know how strenuous election is, how difficult it is, especially when it comes to crisscrossing the various places. I said, and I maintain, and this is not the station position. This has always been my position. If anybody who had been following me on the radio from 21, 22 till now would know. I've said this 2, 3 years ago, and people send me text messages. Some would call and say, "Oh, you are unprofessional, you this, that." Unity Party people, they were calling all of that and will intellectualize the issue. I maintain, and the factors, I gave them factors. I will not just talk because I want to gain radio relevance. I'm already relevant. I'm a brand already. But the reality is, Joe Walker cannot and will not be able to crisscross. There, listen to the advantage. I said this before. I compare he and President George Weah, his counterpart, his rival. That President Weah is energetic. President Weah can walk from his office, the executive mansion, all the way to 10th Street, 9th Street, 20th Street, 21st Street, going beyond. We've seen it. President George Weah goes to practice. He practiced for 35, 45 minutes. He does a lot more energetically. He goes to the rally. He's on the dance floor. He's strolling the crowd here and there. All of these are factors. The people look at all of these in elections. The body language speaks to the people. The body language brings the people closer and closer to you. The body language tells the people that you are part of them. Job Walker, by my observation of him, and people within Unity Party know that, and some of my good friends in Unity Party will speak to me in confidence that the old man is not too well. But I'm not concerned about his not too well. I am saying that he, as I said before, would not be able to crisscross the entire country. Now, a classic example was given to support my claim. What did Mo Ali, the spokesperson, come up with over the weekend? That the rescue team will be visiting the various districts, just as President George Weah and his team did in Montserrado County, and that he will be leading the team. So, is it the spokesperson that goes to lead the rally or leads the party rally? No. The spokesperson is in the background, listening to his or her standard bearer, taking notes on some key lines used as the standard bearer gives his public address or speaks to the people. And when need be, for anything arising out of that rally, to clarify, the spokesperson comes in. But the spokesperson isn't the one who goes in the forefront as the face of the campaign to visit various districts. So, what they try to do is to manage Joe Walker's condition. Joe Walker will not be able to crisscross the entire country. Some of the areas you have to go to speak to your people, you have to sit in car for 3, 4, 5 hours. And the roads are rocky. There are areas that the standard bearer will have to work. I am telling you people this. I beg you all, your wait, your follow, not wait, your follow and see. The first one came out. They released that statement. And when it arrived on my desk, I said to myself, it can't be this spokesperson can be the one crisscrossing. Joe Barker should be the one leading Unity Party rescue team, except that they will want to say that the rescue team is different from the party, that they are two independent or autonomous agencies, but they are not. And one institution. Rescue team is just a cliche to say we are opting to free Liberia. We want to rescue Liberia. So the head of the rescue team is the standard bearer of the party, Joseph Yimabwaka. So if the rescue team is going to some districts or various districts, then the rescue team leader in the presidential contender has to be in the forefront. Joe Walker will not be able to crisscross the various districts. Watch his opposite number. This is no plus for President Weah, but it is an advantage in election, in campaign. These are things that political pundits look at all over the world. In Liberia, when you're talking about it, once you are not sycophantic, they say, oh, you are unprofessional. Because they want you, when you see that the person can make it, the person is struggling, you should say the person can make it. The person is energetic. That's not how you do things. No. He can crisscross, given what I have seen. I don't need somebody to tell me about Joe Boakai. I've seen Joe Boakai on many occasions. We look at a number of things. The time Joe Boakai went to address the media, even to hold the microphone for 4 5 minutes was difficult. Now, let me give you one classic, something about Joe Boakai. This key observation, probably many of you have not been observant. Look at Joe Boakai 4 5 years past and look at Joe Boakai now. Every time Joe Boakai sits, he sits in a strategic way. He crosses his leg and leaves it like that for a certain period. When he sits, he lays in certain position. When he holds the microphone, normally a person holding or addressing the audience will exchange hands. The person I hold the microphone like this, I'm talking, flowing from one end to another, and then sometimes it comes in the left hand, the two hands moving. You have to show flexibility. You know, when you go to address a gathering, you know what the people look at and start to say in a gathering is confused. No, they watch your body language too. The second thing they look at is they watch the sound of your voice. In broadcast, we say crack. That means the way you would sound, say the voice, when they notice that the voice is cracking. They look at how you stand before the people, how you hold the microphone. They look at the fluid, how your body, the movement of your body, what the intellectuals will call confidence. So he goes. Most often, you observe people, they get something they call situational observation. When you go to gathering, don't just be excited. Look at the person, look at the people as they do their public address or they interact with people. Joe Barker will hold that microphone like this for a considerable period. You know why? He's trying to go according to the pieces of medical advice. This is no wish for Joe Barker to be there. I'm explaining to you the advantage George Weah, President George Weah, Standard Bearer George Weah has over Joe Barker. The disadvantage of Joe Barker. All of these are germane factors in election, in campaign. See President Weah in Liquid Town. The first thing he did, he danced. He started to speak the language of the people. And one of the ways you convince people is to speak the language that they understand best. So he started to speak in their language. Then the next thing, he translated it into border demonstration by dancing along with them. He raised the song, and then what happened? Everybody joined in. What did you see there? Energy, flexibility. Joe Parker can. So what I'm simply telling you by this is Unity Party, when they came out with that statement, I understood it to mean that they're trying the best they can to manage his health. And I am telling you, Joe Walker, you're going to see this many times. With just 50 days to go, with just 50 days to go to October 10th, you're going to see it on a couple of occasions, if not many. Joe Walker will not go in certain area. Probably most of the visits will be done by the vice standard bearer, Jeremiah Kuhn. Joe Walker will not be able to go into the interior, that the roads are rocky. He will not be able to defy the rain when it stands, like the opposite number did, to walk in the water. Did you people see President Weah on one of his trails, one of his campaign trails? They walk in the water. Jabaka wouldn't want to do that. And sometimes in campaign, you have to make the sacrifice. You have to risk, you have to take some risks. To get vote is not on a silver platter. Vote is not on a silver platter. You want to get the people vote. You want to get the people there. It's not something. Yeah, say, yeah. This is Sam Andrews. Okay, but say, yeah, you are Sam Andrews. So we're giving you everything. No, 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 no. It doesn't go that way. All over the world, all over the candidates, they have to take risks at a certain point in time because that vote is very germane to them. Joe Barker wouldn't. I am saying that based on what I saw over the weekend, and I tried checking everything off. They remove everything. So after the conference today, now probably then they will announce how it's going to be. So let's wait and see. But that is a factor. Unity Party people, whether you like it or not, whether you get vexed or not, I am only saying the reality. If a white man will sit on the radio and talk about Joe Biden disadvantages in this campaign, President we are Joe Biden disadvantages and advantages, President we are advantages and disadvantages, everybody will agree. They will be excited because that white collar. When you saying it in your own home, seeing the people, knowing it fully well, they tend to see you as a relic of the past. But that is the reality. That will be good for that. The next talking point is the Vice President, Joy Howard Taylor. She's speaking loudly these days, and we can understand his campaign. She's speaking very loud. She was on state radio this morning, LBS, and she was quizzed on a number of things. One of the things that she said was that the coming of President George Weah or President Weah coming in brought a difference, that he changed the metaphysics of the border politics of Liberia and the developmental trend. Unlike Unity Party, that stifled the people for 12 years, that people were making astronomical and stratospheric salaries, that it was minority, royalty, and majority poor. That President Weah would have to change all of those that today Liberians can feel and know the worth of their living in this country. Here is the vice president on state radio this morning.
Especially in the SOEs, people are making crazy salaries. Crazy. Some people making 20,000, some people making this, including all kind of benefits. When the president look at the payroll, he said, "Oh, you have civil servants that are still making $70. Police people on the street, not hardly making anything. Some people at the lower level, not even making $100. He said it's unfair for few people to make millions of dollars and the majority makes less. So we said we'll harmonize the payroll so that additional funds will be made available to do some of the programs that the president is now doing. So I think it was bringing down the salary a little bit from the high level. You think some of the ministers happy? Their salary may have been $5,000 when we started. By the time that process was over, some ministers now making 1,500, some people making $2,000 because we needed to shift the balance to the majority and not to the minority. Because you look at ministers, assistant minister, and deputy, they form a very small percentage of the payroll. But that money has now been used to bring more teachers, to bring more doctors, to train more people, to lift up the payroll of our people. Over the last 4 years, you realize that a nurse was hired maybe as an LPN. Many people have gone to school now because of all of these policies. You might have that LPN nurse now having a master's in nursing administration or whatever it is. People have improved their capabilities, but she's still making the money as an LPN. So our issue now is how do we, looking at the next budget, begin to look at people by the qualifications? Well, if we had not done this harmonization, there would have been no money. Remember, a lot of the funding we got to support government was reduced. So that was the only way President Weah could find additional funding in government to support his agenda. We did the best thing. We didn't take anybody off the payroll. We had to act because we needed additional people on the payroll, looking at the fact that the Unity Party people were in the civil service, and we appreciate them. We want to thank them for the level of work they've done over the years because civil servant has to perform. But the fact of the matter is, if he didn't create an open space in the economy to be able to get more money to pay people at the low level, then the places you will go, there were not even medical doctors or staff. Teachers were non-existent. If President Salif could say, well, there was a mess after all of the support they got, then I don't know what to say now. So first thing, they had a 12-year government. We have done better. We have given more. We have sustained them for 5 years. They've been in government, except people retire. And that's an issue. There are people who should be retired. We're still struggling to find retirement money to be able to give them the handshake. They have remained employed. Oh. They have remained employed. Their children are now going to school. There are better school facilities. Every county got some kind of community college going on. We've increased our budget to the community colleges. You remember when government says you guys will go to school for free except for registration? We have to pay the universities. When you say wax fee is free for 12 graders, we have to pay wax. It's an international organization. So the money has to be paid. And government has to continue to manage the economy to keep things going. So I think the United Party people who are in government need to appreciate the fact that they were not ostracized. They were not removed from the payroll. Those who came in from Judy Bryant and all the other people, you know what happened here? They said they downsizing and right-sizing people. People were removed off the payroll. Who thought? President Weah did not do that. In every institution except places where people are retired, and plus he has increased the capacity of government to take care of these people. So for these two reasons, the support to them, every government employee has received their pay for July. August pay is now being in process. I'm sure before we get to August 31st, the August pay will be done. They've gotten paid on time. Even though people say, oh, when the president take over the government, people will not get paid. You know, there was a lot of rumors. President Weah has trashed all of these rumors. And that is why you will hear most people say, oh, he's making music. With the stress that President Weah or not, he's going to be making music every day because he has a country that he has to make sure is running properly. It's a lot of stress. A lot of stress. Everybody has a different way of dealing with their stress. But has he shirked his responsibility? Has he let government fall? Has he made promises to the young people that he hasn't fulfilled? And those are the things that cover his mind. And that is why we are saying President Weah needs a second term. Unity Party people, CDCO, people who come for ANCO, look at where we have come from. We must look at our leaders by their track record. We have a former worker that say he worked for 12 years, Unity Party squandered it. Did I say so? So if you said as vice president, as the key of
Vice President Joe Howard Taylor on state radio. All right. That Unity Party people didn't do. They stifled the economy, they suffocated the people, the astronomical uh, paid minority enjoyed the government, majority suffered. Then she went on to talk about Joe Wakai thing, even though he himself clarified that he didn't say it. But what the public understands is what they go by. Sometimes you just don't delay. When something comes up, that's the problem with most of the people in this country. When something gets into the public, immediately it spreads like wildfire, and everybody or majority of the people will run with it that way. When you waste time to clarify, it sinks into the people and they will live with it. So when that squandering opportunity claim came out, he wasted time. Some of his people wasted time. At the time they opted to make the clarification, it was late. So everybody knows him as saying that he squandered opportunity. Then he came to clarify. He came to clarify. I have that. I listened to it over and over. He even clarified the racing car, but he said he did not say the squandered opportunity. That what people run away was misinterpretation. So VP Braga will bring up the same thing. And what interests me to bring this because of the disclosure. She said that Job Walker should not act like he was not part of the nuclear of decision making, that most of the meetings were held at his house. That former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, president at the time, would leave her house or her office, would go to Joe Barker's house. They would sit there and have the meeting. Sometimes the cabinet meeting is there. Sometimes they meet one on one to discuss those vital issues.
Yeah, former worker that say he worked for 12 years, Unity Party squandered it. Did I say so? So if you stand as vice president, as the key advisor to President Sirleaf, you know anything that will happen in your government, good or bad or ugly, all our beings are. So I would not go say, oh, President, no, he didn't squander his opportunities. So if you can say that you sat at a place, most of the critical meetings were held at Vice President Boyka's home. President Salif would leave her house and go and call cabinet meeting there. So he was a part of the whole process. So you didn't have any voice. How can you now sit at this point and say you squandered your opportunities when you were vice president? And you've never been president before. You now have a president who people talk all the negative things about that is doing very well. I want to call on citizens across the length and breadth of our country to see the record of President Weah. That's why when he get to the station to talk, they will talk all kind of negative things. Oh, you're not doing it. You're not doing. What does the record say?
That's what you get in campaign. So every bits and pieces are used against you. If they are negative, they are used against you. If they aren't negative, they are brushed aside. In campaign, they look for the little details. That is why you have to be very careful when you are in public service. You have to be very mindful what you do, very mindful what you say. So I just got to know today that most of the meetings were held at Joe Buckard's house. Some of the cabinet meetings were held at. Well, that is up to you. Very shortly, we will weigh in on you. A court in Pennsylvania, the United States of America, has sentenced the former president of the Union of Liberian Association in the America to 2 years of incarceration for sexual assault. Wilma W. Koenig, Kunney, Wilma W. Koenig was arrested and detained in December last year for alleged statutory rape of a teenager. That's according to his pocket sheet from the Court of Common Pleas of Philadelphia County, Pennsylvania. He pleaded guilty to sexual assault on April 4th this year and was sentenced on May 16th this year. The sexual assault charges against Cooley resulted in a lesser sentence than the earlier police charge of statutory rape because of guilty plea for sexual assault. That one is left with the judge. When you plead guilty, the judge can decide to commute or to increase. According to Pennsylvania's Megan's law, statutory rape occurs when an individual engages in sexual intercourse with a person under the age less than 16 and is punishable by imprisonment of up to 40 years if the victim is less than 13 years old. According to his charge sheet or docket sheet, Mr. Cooney, age 61, was also charged with sexual assault, punishable with up to 10 years of incarceration, aggravated indecent assault, punishable with up to 10 years of incarceration, corruption of a minor, punishable up to 7 years of incarceration, and indecent assault without consent, punishable up to 7 years of incarceration. All of these alleged offenses, according to his charge sheet, are felonies, and each carries separate fines of at least US 25,000. The president of the Association of Liberians in America. So Alexander Cummings will announce an 80-member campaign team as he set his sight on the Liberian presidency, which will take place on October. 80 persons. 80 persons. He said that he knows that the president and his CDC are talking about a first round victory. In his words, it is nonsense. First round victory, no sense in it. That will not happen, according to him, because they have failed the Liberian people. But his vice presidential candidate, Charlene Bromskin, said it's going to be a first round. And she even said if there will be a second round, it will be between CPP and CDC. So it's a contrast here. But that's not the issue. The issue is the 80 persons. 80 persons. 80 persons. So Alasha Stowe was named as Deputy National Campaign Chair for Legal Affairs, Isaac Tokwa for Policy, and George Wisner as Deputy for Mobilization and Chairman for Montserrado County. The chairman, Louis Brown. Louis Brown is the National Campaign Chairman. Dr. Toga Gewie McIntosh, former Minister of Foreign Affairs, advisor to the campaign team, and on and on. So 80 persons he named. And then the next one, religious leaders have claimed the legalization of abortion in Liberia will lead to 40,000 babies dying each year. Simply put, they are against any form of abortion. That abortion is currently illegal in Liberia. The Senate is expected to vote on an amendment as to whether or not the law should be changed during their return to a special session. There's currently, according to what is before me, abortion is illegal in Liberia. Thank God the Anthony law will be in shortly. So he will also speak to that. It is illegal. So the Senate wants to make amendment. Amendment means a change. So the change could be is illegal and will strengthen the legality, or that will slight, will reduce the how strong it is to a more lesser one, or that it wouldn't exist at all. That's what. So they are saying, led by Bishop Portubram, they are saying that they want all Liberians, to visit what they call Stop Liberia Abortion Bill. StopLiberiaAbortionBill.com, to ask their senators to vote against the bill they refer to as horrific. According to Cottle Brown, Bishop Cottle Brown, a charge from allowing a change from allowing abortion in exceptional circumstances to allowing abortion on demand will lead to the lives of thousands of innocent babies being lost to abortion in Liberia every single year. That this is a low estimate. The actual number could be much higher. What he's simply saying that in extreme circumstance where either the person's life or the mother's life is at risk, or some kind of condition that would necessitate or the need would be medically for that, fine, but not on the basis of free will of right or demand. That's what he's saying. And this in other countries. And this is one of the debates in Liberia. But the politics have overshadowed it now. Everybody wants to get exactly a taste of the politics. So those are the talking points we've got on bits and pieces on Voice of Liberia 104.1 with me, Sam Andrews, on this 21st day of August 2023, election year in Liberia at 3 o'clock. The founder and executive director of the Access to Justice and Legal Aid Program, Anthony At-Law, Omisi Johnson, is in. Until then, let's have your say. You can weigh in on any one of our talking points this afternoon on 0770 907 907 0880 907 907 and have your say on bits and pieces with me in St. Andrews. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907 and have your say on any one of the talking points we got. 3 o'clock, Omisi Johnson is in. Anthony at Law. Omisi Johnson is in at 3 o'clock. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Oh, this is Abu Kamara, and I'm feeling you from the Trappers like the rest of this afternoon. And let me say thank you to you for giving us the opportunity to air with you this afternoon. When you're talking point, my concern has to do with the former vice president. I listen. That means the vice president, the current vice president, my Joel. I'm listening to the vice president today on EFCC. She talked a lot and she made a lot of sense today.
Did you say she made? Did you say she made a lot of sense?
Of course.
All right.
I learned a lot from her today. I listened from the start of the show to the end. Yeah, and I listened to her very carefully. She
All right.
makes so many points.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
This is ECM calling from Matari. Yes, and let me go straight to the point. You made a lot of sense from your analysis that you gave beginning a former vice president and George Weah. But people will say because you're journalist and you go in this side, you go in the wrong side. Person is as we speak. The rescue team is in Minna and Baka is in Monrovia. The moment is not fit. Let people come to the fight and let us go. You shouldn't force this woman at the end of the day so he can collapse. He will definitely not make it to go around the entire country to campaign. So if the face of the rescue team is not heading the team, who will head the team? How will the people know you coming to rescue them? Who are you coming? Who is coming to rescue them? Is it Mo Ali or the senator? No. Let people go straight to the point and speak the issue.
Thank you so much for calling. Have a nice afternoon. Good afternoon. 07701 Good afternoon.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you for this program. But what really happens is that we're not getting the Liberian people. What they want is for them to elect this woman, and then after a few times, he gave way to the vice president. Then the vice president will call Prince Johnson to be his vice. That's the whole plan of Unity Party.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for calling. Have a nice day. 0770907 At 3 o'clock, the founder and executive director of the Access to Justice and Legal Aid Program, Anthony Atlaw Omisi Johnson, is in. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Howe. My first name is Istanbul.
You are on the air, Mr. Howe. I'm listening to
Okay,
you.
thank you. And I listened partially to your discussion, and I just want to make my thoughts on the issue about the trust law and the how they call it. I think the issue about the abortion, for me, I not support it. Abortion now is killing people a lot. So even if that law seems to be maybe passed, it will cause all death for Liberia. So I don't think that the government or the law you have that to be passed. So
Yeah,
let's try and
but
leave that one alone.
Mr. Howe, that bad thing there?
I think that it will be bad because right now, women say I told you the only party is in the corner, but yesterday doing it and some of they are not surviving for it. Even the unborn that they show in the future, nobody knows as to who that child will be in the future. And honestly, I think it is not very necessary to pass that law, sir.
Have you encouraged a woman or a friend of yours that you may have know or you to abort?
If I have
You ever
married,
encourage a lady to abort?
you say I'm not getting
You
married.
encourage you not encourage woman to take up belly?
Yeah, I will not encourage them to wait to
So
get anybody married.
you encourage no woman to take up belly yet?
No, I haven't done it, sir.
But why you
I
do
didn't do
it?
it
Why you do it?
because I feel it's not good.
Ah,
Yeah, it's not good. Thank you.
okay. Thank you
Okay,
for
fine.
calling to 0770-907-907 We've got few minutes to begin the discussion with Anthony Atlaw Omisi Johnson. He is the director of Access to Justice and Legal Aid Program, and he's in very shortly. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
0770907-907 So if you think you can, but I don't think it's a good thing. I don't see that bill passing, or I don't see the amendment being made. That means the change that they will want to make already is illegal. So how they're going to do that modification or change, something that uh, people will have to wait to see. But our culture isn't open to that. Our culture is not as liberal to certain things as the other culture. Though you have abortion all over the place, informal, but this one, they want to make it a right. That's the main thing, a right. RIGHT. That you get it right. If you realize for whatever the circumstance, you can go and do the termination. But there are too many factors involved. Too many. Tomorrow we'll take up time to talk about that. And I'll bring an expert on to explain that. There are different kinds of abortions. That's one of the things that you ought to be thinking about. There are different kinds of abortion. Some situations, the abortion have to go on. Oh, yes. There are different kinds of abortion. Abortion is not just one. Oh, there are different kinds of abortions. So when you hear, you have to be a little bit curious. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Mhm.
My name is Jerry Too. I'm calling from Panelville, Quebec.
Yeah, let's hear
Hello?
you, Mr. Doe.
Yes, Honorable Barkai, if he's here and he's monitoring your station, because people are just passing around and saying the owner is very sick, he's here, he's sick, and things like that. So at least when he's monitoring your station, let me place a call to your station so that we can hear his voice, at least to clear the air.
But
Thank you.
the man is on one of the stations today at 3 o'clock. So you can phone in and then yeah, he's on one of the stations at 3 o'clock, 3:30 this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, thank you for calling to have a nice Monday. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. So there are different types of abortions, different types of abortion. And some people will will interpret abortion miscarriage also to abortion, even though but it's a different kind. That one is purely accident. You're listening to Bits and Pieces on Voice of Liberia 104.1 with me, Sam Andrew. Thank you ever so much for spicing this section up. We're back uh, tomorrow, but the second session is on. Let's move to the second lap of the show with the Anthony at Law, Omisi Johnson. Mr. Johnson is the founder and executive director of Access to Justice and Legal Aid Program Liberia. He is Anthony at Law. An opportunity to have him in. Let me say good afternoon, Anthony at Law Omisi Johnson, for accepting invite. Welcome to Voice of Liberia, 104.1 Bits and Pieces.
Thanks, Sam. I'm glad to be here. And for the requisite, I'm a paralegal, so use me as a paralegal and a veteran courtroom reporter for now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So we are here. We are glad that you invited us here to help our community because this is our own passion. And that's why we organize the Access to Justice and Legal Aid Program. And with our 20 years of courtroom reporting, we are all current. We've learned the different strategies. All of my media years, I have now been assigned to different areas beside the courtroom. And while in high school in the 80s, I envisioned of becoming a human rights lawyer, a professional courtroom reporter, reporting from the level of the Supreme Court of Liberia. So based on that, I put my all into it. We were trained, I'm one of those that were trained by the Liberia Rural Communications Network in the 80s, during the DOS regime. And you say there was a project that led to the establishment of the rural community radio stations, ERV in Vonyama, ERZ in Zwedru, and ERG in Banga. So at ERG in Banga, where I attended Buffet High School in the 80s, we were opening up those who were controlling and managing the station. They were actually open to us based on our interest in becoming, what we demonstrated, starting from high school reporting, giving, a request on Saturdays. So I can make reference to my colleague, Azere, who was now in the Liberia Broadcasting System. He was then attending the Tottenham Grade United Methodist Church, the late Singbe Johnson Jr., and I was attending Singbe and as they were attending the Tottenham United Methodist United Methodist Tottenham High in Banga. So me, Rosalie Kekla, Larry Bull, who attended both Martin told me the high school debate should be challenging. So based on our passion, the late Rufus Kine, who was then the station manager, Chester Quena, who is also the Kolev Lemi, Freya Cooper, my mentor still is alive, who is Peter Toby. So what actually happened then, the guys, they opened everything into us in terms of availability of equipment, this modern technology, digital era, those they were using reel to reel. So just imagine using reel to produce a program. So my direct immediate bosses were Edison Zena, Clark Wilson. Then in the newsroom, you had Aaron Collins, David Raw, Christopher Lee, Joe Wallaby, Moluba. So by and large, based on my interests, and all of us who, were groomed into the media, organized press club at different high schools that I can be a reference of, that's how actually, and when they're working, still survive on our expertise. Tell us about our expertise. Hyena be the media, will now won the overwhelming victory they won during 1997 election. So no rebel leader in the whole world had ever succeeded in the absence of the media, but still very creative and the heights of our own expertise.
Okay. That's good. So the discussion will focus on challenges faced by ordinary people in accessing legal system and other issues. But I want you, this is an isolated issue, but it had some kind of connection given the time that we're in. I want you to educate the people in the space of 2, 3 minutes. There's this expression all over the place. All of the political parties are claiming one round victory, first round victory. That means by their insinuations or emphatic statement, there's not going to be a second round. You are a lawyer. You want to, is it possible? Is it possible? My question is premised on where you started with former President Charles Taylor winning a first round.
Okay, so for today, even that they have already become unfolding. The unfolding means that the campaign is already in full swing, and the variables, those who studied sociology, the sociology who I did sociology along with criminal justice, I sociologists experts. We use our third eye. You didn't do sociology. If you didn't do today, you don't have two eyes. So that third eye is the third eye that we use to become critical, analyze it critically. So with the question you just asked, with the variable of 20 presidential candidates. So what does the rule says from the National Election Commission angle to become victorious in an election? It says 50 plus one vote. But then you have 20 presidential candidates contesting for one seat. It is impossible. So a runoff is inevitable. But on the other end, the politicians are not the politicians have their own way of persuading the voters. So nobody can come from the blue sky. Even the incumbent say, which is in favor of President George Weah. I'm here then they will be a one-time victory. So he's a front runner right after him, old man ambassador, former Vice President Joseph Walker saying the similar thing. The other here Kumi saying the same thing. It will be the variables are clear. It is not possible. And I challenge anyone. Let's record this interview and play after NEC announces after October 10th. It is not possible. A one-term victory is not possible. There had to be a rerun of the election. Runoff is actually highly inevitable. It will come to pass.
What are the factors that existed during the elections that brought former President Charles Taylor to power and comparing it with today? What are those factors that led Charles Taylor to win one round?
Okay, so you want me to jump the gun? I started a research.
No, you aren't jumping the gun. You are
No,
educating the public
yeah,
because
that's what I'm coming to do now. That's what I'm doing. And when I actually take the airwave to speak to our people, my direct beneficiary of our organization now the LU Codidon people, Stella Marie, and my old man, and my brother and sister, I can try to educate. So, with reference to the question, there was a different factor that involved, which led to the election of 1997. And I'm a secret one for me to talk to. Sita Chancellor won 75% of the results, and the chairman said, Mo County. Yeah, there was some manipulation played. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was the same 20 political parties. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, but somebody will come and tell me to set the record so I send to be corrected. Out of the 20, the NPP became victorious. How did the NPP become victorious? How did President Charles Taylor win such election? That's a project that I don't want to disclose what will be. But I challenge that President Taylor election 1937 was manipulated by our regional body. How they did it, not how it will be included into my book.
So you can, and you haven't considered that a democratic one-round victory.
Currently, no, it's not possible.
That election.
That election, there were factors involved. One of the factors we have to discuss is that one of the strategies used by the regional body was that everyone comes from war. Everybody suffered the war. Everybody suffered the major atrocities. So that was a clear attempt for manipulation and to have under the canopy that people are afraid that if Canada does not win, you will revert to the bush.
Regional manipulation, or the citizens felt the fear and coercion.
No, the citizens had no option. They were not controlling the security system. They were only there for two things: survival and protection. For internal decision making, that's why the regional body suspended our constitution and they called that election a special election. So all of the rudiments in our judicial system with respect to our electoral processes, they were set aside. And ECOWAS drew out their own election guideline, and that's the guideline who went about. So they had the option. Anything that we have said, we are being subjected to. And one of the strategies said that this strategy will work. It will work because everybody is tired. They are saying that if they vote against Charles, like he'll go back to the bush. So that one of the factors.
That one of the factors. If not the main
It
factor.
worked. It worked. That factor worked. Now,
It did work.
It worked.
So about 60 to 75% of the people voted on that.
It went in before. It went about 60. It went about 60. It went about 75. It went. Let me put it to 85%. And that was cleverly created. It was. I plan to do the research. Even some of the interviewees, few have died, or some are still living. But I will say do that project. They will just because of lack of finances. And I will be challenging how Mr. Taylor was elected and winning a victory. There was some manipulation. And my colleague who and I plan to do that research project, he passed off, but the knowledge he said then we say pass it on. We challenge how Taylor. We will explain to you how President Taylor was elected.
So it's not within your record. You don't consider that a democratically first round victory.
In this instance, I challenge
all of the factors that you named.
In this instance, no, it's not possible. It's not possible.
So now let's come into 2023. None of those factors that existed then that led Charles Taylor to have won first round exist now.
Using my third eye, I don't see it now. I don't see it now. So it will not surface. Okay, I don't see it now. Then I saw it and it surfaced and it worked.
So with none of the factors existing that existed or existed during former President Charles Taylor's time, then it means that a second round is possible 2023.
It is highly,
because it is purely democratic right now.
It is highly inevitable. That means it cannot be. You can't avoid it. A one-round victory in this election is not possible. Why? The conglomeration of 20 political parties. One is not able to obtain 50% plus one vote as per the rules on this arrangement. It's not possible. So a runoff is possible. And the politicians got their own way of swaying the percentage.
Yeah, we'll go to the crux of why you are here. Okay. But you are very vast when it comes to the political side.
I do.
So you see, what is the trend? How the elections going to be? Is it going to be between two parties, or what are the two parties that will go into the second round?
The variable that will remain constant, and a survive 2005, a work 2011, a work 2017. It is the incumbent and the Unity Party.
These are the two parties you see in the second round.
They will. They
What
will.
about
They will.
ANC
They will.
slash CPP, MPC, and the other people?
Yeah, all of them will participate into the runoff. But if we want to qualify who will be first, who will be second, the two parties, the incumbent and the Unity Party, should be in the order who will fall in line after the two.
Why Unity Party and CDC will be in the second round?
This analysis, no one needs to go to a workshop to go and learn, maybe go sign for a sitting fee, eat breakfast and sign for lunch. No, it is clear that Unity Party, despite their defeat in 2017, still has a strong hope. You know that. That one is on ID. You can't argue that. The CDC, the original CDC, I'm not talking making reference to the coalition, from just the original CDC perspective, President Weah has an incumbency advantage over the opposition. So the CDC, with the collaborating parties that make up the coalition, also it gives a boost to the original CDC. So it is, an incumbency advantage over the other opposition. So when it comes to the United Party has a more strong base than the other political party. Making reference to the ANC. ANC is, it's a breakout fashion of the CDC. That one is nobody can argue on that. I'm also making reference to the move, LPP of Senior Councillor Gongolo, and so the other political party will fall in line behind the United Party to go through the runoff. But it is not possible that, but anyway, that the cliche by the politician.
Yeah.
Everybody say, hey, one round, one round, one round. No, it's not possible. Based on the view, why the variable 20 persons fighting for one office, one seat. And the election law says that before you get that one seat in the first round, you should get 50% plus one. I don't see that possible, man.
He's Anthony at law, a paralegal. Yeah.
Let's
What
take on
you
this
say?
round.
Yeah. Umisi Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. We get back to the politics of it. You concerned about the challenges that ordinary people face in accessing a legal system in this country. You want to lay out some of those challenges, if not all?
Okay, thank you for that question. My years in the media, I can write on politics, but it's not my passion. It's not my passion. Why? Because my philosophy is that my writings in the media should have a qualitative impact on society, and not the day to day, from day to day argument. Oh, John Brown say you still this money. What you say? Then our colleagues, our younger, then they run to the other party. What you say? The other party say, good. My people, I beg you, I'm talking to my people, to hell with him. Then they run into the studio. Hey, we want to John Brown said, pause too. I want to Paul said, to hell with him. No, you can't run out on the media. No, that's not my passion. My passion is that society must be transformed. So in our work, the access to justice and legal aid program, I have worked for law firm over 15 years as a legal assistant, and you perform that role in a law firm. Then of course you got to be somebody who is to be okra and with my own journalistic reporting from the courtroom. So I paraded, I went through the various counties across the country. The only place I did not go that Bapolo. But all of the sacred code, all of the magisterial codes. So these are the problems I observe.
It gives you a whole perspective of the legal inadequacies existing.
Yes. So one of the major challenges among the challenges, one we need is illiteracy. Our population is illiterate. Illiteracy, to define this context, we are saying that illiteracy is an inability to read and write, and in this context, not only to read and write, but to understand the law in English. One is language barrier. There's one managerial code where you see an assistant clerk interpreting when a lawyer says, Your Honor, at this stage, we represent the interest of who interpreting that in the federal courts. No. So language barrier with the ordinary people is one key factor. Another one is ignorance. How people do not know when you hear they say civil and criminal procedure. Procedure, it doesn't mean you must jump that time from stage 1 to stage 2. So people are that occurring with how now if somebody carry a police to the court, the complainant wants for the judge or the court at that time to call the case the following day. It doesn't work that way. No. In civil procedure, if John Brown files a lawsuit against Mary, Mary has the right to hire her lawyer, and her lawyer has 10 days to respond to the pleading file against Mary. Do our people know that? No. That's why when they are frustrated, they say the judge, the lawyer, everybody corrupt because the procedure. They don't have the time. They are not open with the time. And then what is corruption? Corruption is in the criminal justice system. And corruption undermines the rule of law. Corruption undermines access to justice. Corruption undermines human rights and democracy, and then promote the culture of impunity. Do our people know that? No, so but they are victims now. They are victims. That's one. Corruption is one of the key factors, and it starts with the police. Under the criminal justice system, the police is the front line. From the police, you go to the court. From the court, you go to the correction, where we refer to as sub-beach for immoral. The correction is the third component of the criminal justice system. There are many persons now at sub-beach or at the various prisons across the country. They're not supposed to be there, but they are there. Why they are there is because their relatives do not know the process that involve people going through our argument as an organization with the advice of our board. And our board is headed by Councillor Bob B. Lewitt, Sr. He is the chair of the board. We have Anthony George King. We have Anthony Joseph E. Kennedy. They lead the legal defense component of our program. We are not saying that if our clients or individual violate the law, they should not be punished. No, they should be punished. But they should be punished in line with the due process of the law. Why I say due process? They should be, why you are being convicted in prison? Those who are convicted in prison, the same way those who are not in prison, eating tabasu, eating tobosoye, eating gravy, they are entitled to eating gravy and tobosoye while they are behind bars. Is that happening? We say no. Our assessment in some of the prisons around the
So
country,
that's how your institution is helping them access full justice.
Precisely. And the state should also create a corridor. What we also observe is that I don't see some of the justice actors, the policy makers, are not seeing the direction of the advocacy we began in line with the Center for Legal Aid Support Services, which is being headed by Anthony George King. In other countries like Sierra Leone, there is a legal aid commission. You know what a commission does? Legal aid personnel are not lawyers, they are not law, but they are treated as paralegal. They are there to reduce the burden from the court docket. It is because of the pattern of the court dockets that you see the prison is overcrowded. Because petty cases that are supposed to be adjudicated using a strategic litigation, using ADR, alternative dispute resolution method, that is not working. For all the small petty cases, our people are not informed. So they just feel that when you violate, when you do something wrong, I went to the court.
You go to them, you take on them, you assess their responsibility, you take on those responsibility, or they get to you as an institution.
That's why when the problem is solved at the community level, then it reduces the burden on the court docket. Why that working? That working in Sierra Leone is fine. It's working in Uganda. The late Remy Reid, he must have attended a workshop in Uganda. He was representing the government. I was representing what's the angle. And they were teaching about how power legal can help the justice system to reduce the burdens on the docket of the court. It's working effectively in Uganda. So it's not working.
So what's the impact you having with it in Liberia?
What we are doing now and will be succeeding is we provide public legal education, public legal awareness, and public legal information. How do we do it?
Explain that
We
contextually.
Okay. For our direct beneficiaries, as I say again, our direct beneficiaries are now you the quote unquote calling down, I'm seeing calling down, quote unquote, the educated one, huh? Though you are not the direct beneficiary, but you are also benefiting from what we can provide. So we made the law simple. How many of our people who understand the difference between the different types of rate? What is common in the magisterial level is rate of summer and rate of arrest. Do our people understand? In fact, as soon as our people understand our rate, you will not even know. As soon as you say that rate, they are afraid to go. That's why they are withdrawing from helping the police to dealing with cases because they may have the information and the police cannot fight any crime in the absence of the community. But because the system works, many persons believe that when there is a riot or a crime occurring, the police go there and round everybody up. And you go to the depot, immediately put in jail. So people are very apprehensive. But a professional criminal justice system, an investigator, when there is an incident, you appear there. The law says if it is a crime, if a riot, when the police arrive there, anybody who's standing there, whether you're not the police, the law says they must collect all of you. Yes, that one is true. They must carry you to the depot, that one is true. But when you come to the depot, you the investigator be trained to the extent that the question you are asking, that is interrogation, is not investigation. So I see people may use the word.
There's a difference between interrogation and investigation
in criminal justice. The first appearance of those you run off from a community, they appear before the text is.
So what you get out or what you intend to get out of interrogation?
You are trying to see what the people brought before you at that time, whether they are linked. Because you have to establish a probable cause before you can arrest. That's what the law says. Honor is democratic arrangement universally. So to derive at a probable cause is merely facts and circumstances that make the investigator to believe, to have the belief, BELIEF, that one, the first thing, a crime has been committed. Number two, that this crime that has been committed was committed by the accused. Who is the accused? Omisi Johnson. So based on that, we think that the police have the ability to charge him for the commission of the crime, aggravated assault, manslaughter, homicide, burglary, and robbery. Then you can prepare a charge and file them to court. So in that instance, let somebody call and tell, when the police go to that community, everybody, we send some people who after investigating. It has done well. So people are very apprehensive to providing assistance to the police in terms of.
So after the police have done all of that, they have gotten what they want based on probable cause. The investigation starts
you to the court. They should not investigate you. They should send you to the court.
So how effective is the rule of law? Because we see that all over the place. People are investigating, people are rendering verdict, people are sentencing people.
Yeah, that's why the system, the system is corrupt. Corruption does not mean only
money,
pocketing money in your pocket. No, corruption means you know that this is not right. You're doing it the wrong way. That's corruption. Selective justice is corruption. Why do I know selective justice? You hear the idea that the law is blind, right? On the temporal justice wall, it is written clearly in blueprint. They had another inspection, but advocated through the Women in Peace Building Network, they raised it. Now, when you went there, it is let justice be done to all. That means the law is blind. But if you are dispensing justice, that means you want for people to have access to justice, then you're picking and choosing. Now, what they call select justice, I'm talking to deny all the young people. When the enforcement of the law decide and begin to pick and choose, then you causing that corruption in the criminal justice. So both of our people are victims of that. We just told you that in the hinterland, it's more The magistrate who works in back of the lawyers as centralized or based in the urban setting, which is Monrovia. In some of the magistrate in the interior, you will not find nobody working there. Now the magistrate and the clerk. Who decides? Our people do not know the difference between summon and arrest. But the discretion of the judge to align the criminal defense to fire a bond is actually with the judge's own discretion. But let me give you an instant case where the Supreme Court stepped in and we activists saw it from a different angle. A magistrate was assigned in Banga, in Bon County, at the Ninth Judicial Circuit Court. But the way you were dispensing his only justice, the other magistrate is in real of summer. You don't issue there are offenses that the magistrate will you to issue real of summer, not real of arrest. For instance, the madam ever say he went, he called my son. They're not real arrest. No.
It's summer
It's summer.
to determine the
Yes.
cause.
Oh, well, maybe he owed me. He don't pay my rent yet. He borrowed money from you, he don't want to pay. Sometimes debt action can turn into criminality based on the defendant, you escaping, you making promise, you're not into it. But just a man I owe you debt action, now I was in the habit of issuing real arrest.
But this is prevalent with most of the law enforcers or police or other paramilitary or parapolice.
Yes.
You most often you hear you honor arrest, follow us. We came to effect an arrest. You obstructed the arrest.
Yes, so in that instant arrest, there are two different dimensions. Arrest must be accompanied by an arrest warrant.
So the police can arrest or summon. Who summons?
The police cannot summon. The police
Can arrest.
with warrant.
The court summons.
The court summons. And the police can arrest two ways. The police can arrest with a warrant, or the police can arrest without a warrant. How the two work? The summon, the warrant of arrest is the police has an info, an internet. The case, so there's something happening over there, or there's somebody got drugs in that place. You want to do search and seizure. So you go to the court, but mind you, the magistrate is keen to asking you whether the information you are providing they are correct. If you tell the magistrate, yeah, Your Honor, to the best of our knowledge, that community, that young man or that woman, that drugs. So we want to go and search. The court will issue an arrest warrant. The only one that can handle all
Issue an arrest warrant just on mere say or mere allegation.
No, the court is asking you. Go in there and come back. You got to prove it. You don't prove it, it should be against you, the law enforcement officer. But you are misled and made to inform the court.
So assume that happened. The court went in and did not find a drug.
Yeah, so the court should go to be punishing the law enforcement officer.
What's the punishment?
The punishment, why the court
can decide.
Yeah, the court can decide. If there have been instances where DEA officers they just break into homes. No. The law says that before you go and search somebody's private premises, you must request the law enforcement officer must request the magistrate. You must do a formal application accompanied by an affidavit. That affidavit, you telling the court that to the best of our knowledge, our law enforcement officer under the Republic of Liberia, we believe that indeed there are drugs or harmful weapons in our house. So by that, we tell you, please issue out a search warrant. An affidavit is signed by a law enforcement officer, approved by a magistrate. The magistrate that is in the 1986 Constitution, that no officer can just move and go do search in somebody's private premises. Is that working? Is it not working? We say no. Do our people, do they know it? They know, but they are
so the rule of all that you explaining, the rule of law isn't effective as it ought to be.
It is not effective. And it's not just because we got some bad apples, I want to go apples. We got bad apples.
And your organization has the responsibility to have it strengthened.
That's why we refer to as public legal education. Our people do not know. The information is to create the awareness. The publicity is to engage the policy makers at the level of the lawmaking process on our justice system so they can listen. After the war, the United States Germany International Court, backed by ECOWAS, they paid millions of US dollars to train the security sector reform. So that means when they train you, they want you to be transformed, your mentality should be transformed from the war days up to now. But now we have a case against 6 police officers who took bribe and bend the rules against community members. They incarcerated them in a jail and proceeded to have them incarcerated at the Morelia Central Prison. We, as a team of organizational lawyers, we had to go to perfect insurance bond. Our client slept at South Beach. We managed through the system. The case is before criminal court where His Honor Judge Joseph Beverly presides. Now, here is the interesting story. The law says, in keeping with Chapter 18.1 of the Criminal Procedure Law, that you cannot detain defendant. More than 2 terms will all be indicted. Number one, even when you indict them, you should bring them for court trial. So since that incident took place, it has gone more than 2-3 terms. So why they complaining?
And they in jail.
No, we release them.
Release them.
Yeah. So the release was that the complainant, which is the state in this instant case because the criminal matter, should go and do a notice of assignment to prosecute our client. The state will not do it because why? Once the police blunder with the issuance of the wrong charge sheet, the state cannot proceed. Because in criminal law, you can only the burden of proof lies on the shoulder of the accuser. In this instant case, it is the state. You have the proof. Whether the community member, the pastor, is charging them for armed robbery, aggravated, saying, attempt to commit murder, suicide. How? Why? Because those police officers that were being involved were caught right with receiving bribe. We wrote the director of police, and he's cheating his officers up to now. So the next thing we're going to do is to apply and file a motion to the criminal court, and the case will be dismissed. But we'll sue all of those officers separately for damages against the community.
We'll sue them?
We'll sue them. It's unethical. Why you think the United States and
when?
No, the motion will be the judge will honor the motion. The case will be dismissed based on the lack of the failure of the state to proceed. Now, that one is clear. Section 18.1 of the it says the failure of the state to proceed with the case is the ground for the other part of file motion for dismissal of the case will be dismissed.
Now, how will these adequacies existing in the legal system or affecting the rule of law, you put it one of the situation on overcrowded prison.
Yeah.
So what's the solution to have it decrowded?
Yeah, so the state must provide avenue. The state must create avenue.
What kind of avenue?
Avenue, create space, create programs. The Morelia Center Prison, for instance, in Maserati is overcrowded. So what kind of strategy has the government done in creating different rehabilitation centers on the correctional department coupled on the criminal justice system? In Maserati. We not see him on transfer go from to Zwedo. No. We said in Maserati. What have you done? What have you created as an alternative to the Morelia Center Prison? A research that we done to one of the prison compound.
I want you to give the public an understanding. At what point do you arrive that the prison is overcrowded?
And the government itself cried the other day that this is overcrowded. They don't have the capacity to take in pre-trial detainees or even withhold convicts. If the court has not brought you for trial before the court, you are referred as pre-trial detainees. If you go through the processes, you are called a due process. And then the court find you guilty, you then become a convict.
So the burden is with the government or the responsibility to accelerate.
Precisely. That's why I just said initially.
So that it decreases the number of persons in jail.
All right. And we're telling you that we are not saying when people violate the law, they should not be punished. No, that's not our argument. Our argument is that when people violate the law, there must be reward, penalty. And punishment must be realistic. So if somebody vowed based on the gravity, and you tell the man will put you that way you have done, it requires you going to jail or prison for 5 weeks. It should be 5 weeks. So punishment is realistic with against the gravity of the crime.
And after the 5 weeks,
You
he
have
or
them
she
released.
is
And
released.
based on their performance, their behavior pattern, while they are under the custody of the state. That is rehabilitation. Don't just keep them there. Every day you go for them. They eat. They play football. No. The correction aspect of the criminal justice is to rehabilitate the psychology, change the mind of the offender, so that when they come back, you don't want to see them going back there.
One of the problems, or one of the reasons for what you just highlighted, the people themselves, the jailers and other people will use it or will admit that people carry a complaint, and then the complainant can no more be seen, the complainant can show up, and then the person is in jail.
Yes, that's form part of our work. That's public legal education, information, and awareness. There are those who believe that let me just go rubbish. They are satisfied. Hmm? So what is the intent of going making sure that somebody goes rubbish? Is that what you wanted? Does that change the problem? We are saying no. So you should be informed. The state should inform the complainants. At the magisterial level, they are called complainants. When you graduate to the Federal Court and the Supreme Court level, the state must be. Do we have any public education program run by the state? I say no.
On legal issues.
On legal issues? I say no. Is there a sustained program that is educating the public about our 1986 Constitution? I say no. You don't know the fundamental right is in Article 21 of the 1986 Constitution. They teach you due process, it is there. Is the government doing that? We say no. So the competent government effort, that was civil society organization like the Access to Justice of Legal Aid and others, we are happy to complement the government effort. But some of the problems we identify is we see a serious blockage. The system is so sophisticated, and their apprehension, or that they do this, and that will do that, but it is in the interest of the state because overcrowdedness of prison company is against the state. For the government of Liberia to say Monroe Central Prison Service is overcrowded, it against you. Then you are giving right
and runs contrary to the various protocols and conventions.
You are signature to the back of the International Convention. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Other convention you are. So the law say that you the state.
So it impeaches on their human rights to be tried or their rights are denied.
Now they deny it also put the culture of impunity. Impunity means that one happened to our man and I arrested him the other day, yes. The children saw me here. But without all I to Western. Without all to that means punishment is not realistic. Then you the state, there are lapses in your function. When punishment is not realistic, you give you breeding ground for criminal to be on the increase. So let the criminals or offenders of the law feel the punishment. And that punishment, the whole, you are not having people accusing that the judiciary is corrupt or the lawyers are corrupt. Do they know the system? They don't know the system.
Is it corrupt?
Corruption, yeah, corruption is the rule of law. Yeah, they are corruption.
The judiciary corrupt.
The criminal intent, when you say it, don't just all rule when you say
The judicial system.
the criminal justice system, corruption is there. And it begins with the police, the put in the corruption. That's why when you hear selective justice, the law is blind. The law is not looking for master people against normal people. The illiterate against the literate. Poor people children and rich people children. No. So when you want to punish everybody who violates, you punish them on equilibrium, on equal basis. So that what makes the law to be blind. But when you become selective, different justice selectively is corruption. I told you that initially corruption is not just stealing money, putting it in your pocket.
Are these things having?
They are
having. Yeah, but do they have any bearing on democracy?
It has. It undermines the rule of law. It undermines the access to justice. It underlines the principle of human rights, dignity, liberty. It undermines democracy, which talks about participation. It undermines the corruption, which is a cardinal factor. All of the different insurgency, political upheaval in our country have been linked to rampant corruption. PRC, the detriment of October regime, rampant corruption. MPP, MPFL, again, the those regime, rampant corruption. Unity Party, but any joint study, if I tell corruption will be enemy number one, rampant corruption. But President Current, if I say he will eliminate corruption, they proceed corruption. So corruption is a cardinal factor that is undermining not only access to justice, not only rule of law, not only democracy or human rights, but also the social, economic, and political development of our country.
How are you going about in terms of sustainability with your access to justice program as an institution? How you've been coping? You've been with it for a couple of years now.
Precisely.
Yeah, it is a Herculean task given our culture.
Precisely.
So how has it been?
So what normally can happen is that you have to start a process, an initiative, before you can even seek asking somebody to help you. Because if they were to ask you, what have you been doing? So I've been doing A, B, C, D. And in this A, B, C, D, these are the challenges that we have observed that we want to, intervene. One of those challenges have been the lack of funding. We want to deploy our men, train, recruit paralegals to be deployed at the various courts. When they come from it, we able to interpret procedure. When you have civil procedure, our people don't know civil procedure. The languages in the court by the judges are not here or vernacular. No. Our people don't understand what the law says. Your Honor, objection, disposition of law issue. Do our people understand that? They don't know it. So with funding, we want to go beyond just the public education that we provide on the radio, but want to do it through community initiatives.
Your impediment is funding, money.
Funding, and the environment.
Have you been soliciting? Have you tried soliciting money?
We got the process. Yes, we begun the process, but all of what we've been doing is from ourselves. Due payment, using our own social contacts, our own innovation and creativity. But we want to go beyond that because our focus is on Monrovia. The need is more in demand outside Monrovia.
Have you sensed any difference in your work in terms of improvement over those years?
Precisely, we've done some of the problem on the radio. A call in on the radio, we solve some of the problem on the radio just by answering questions. Some of the problem we go into the community are just coming from solving one of the problem in the community that had to do with community not understanding each other as to demarcation between structures. The other person build a house, but the eave of the house is if it rain, the water will rain on the other person's roof. They don't have space to go over the house to go. So solving conflict using the alternative dispute resolution method tie under that big umbrella we call strategic litigation. That's our passion. Not just running straight to go for litigation. Because litigation, poverty, one of the problems that are giving our people hard time. Lawyering is expensive. Our people don't have money. Starting to hear about court, even though they are right, but because of the demand to hire a legal service by an attorney or a counselor at law, they don't have it. So even though they can get outside out of the courtroom, doing the airport and up, I leave my own will go.
Do you have a training component within your program that you build the capacity of other people legally so that they assist you in some of the works that you carry out?
Precisely. So let me make special reference to Bon County. Bon County has 8 managerial codes. So if we were to be empowered economically, we go in Bon County, we will recruit and train. So each of the districts that got managerial codes, people will be trained within those localities. They will visit the various police depots or police station or managerial codes. So they will be there also to helping the state, but through our program, to enhance access to justice at the level of the magisterial court. They can do arbitration. They can do negotiation. They can do mediation. Our people do not know not every piece of matter that goes to court. No. But problem can be solved avoiding litigation by using the ADR method. If that happens, we will not have the issue of oral clarity in the various prisons across the country.
You're listening to Bits and Pieces on Voice of Liberia 104.1 with me, Sam Andrews. We're transmitting from Capital Bypass. My guest this afternoon, the founder and executive director, Paralegal, Access to Justice and Legal Aid, Omisi Johnson. And we're looking at the challenges faced by ordinary people in accessing the legal system and also the rule of law and democracy. Just before we tend to the public, don't worry, we'll call you back. We'll call you back so that you'll talk more. In the next few minutes, before we start taking calls, what's your observation of the campaign period? In few, you can say that in few minutes. What do you observe of the trend of CDC, Liberty Party, Unity Party, ANC slash CPP? How do you see the campaign moving? How are they moving it to the people? How is it resonating?
Okay, so the campaign period, let me specifically speak to the young people. It is the young people who have the energy, they have the exuberance, they are the ones who are steering the party into motion. They are the ones who are doing the battle cries. I will say again, they are the ones who are doing the fighting in the streets, not the politicians, not the political parties standard bearer. It is the young people. So this should be a caveat to the young people. You can disagree and agree with your opponent, with your colleague. You know that families are divided in the home. The father and the daughters are one side. The mother and the sons are one side. The mother is in different party, the father is in different political parties. So we are saying that you can argue. Don't insult. Don't throw stones. The thing they call politics, now my people are talking to politics that you all can talk, you say they want to answer far away. Your own idea is not good, my own idea, my own party idea is good. We think we can do good for this country when you are your president. When you all the people buy, no, they can't go. We know plenty book, we have plenty experience. So all that talking about the call politics, you want to convince, you want to make your friend trust you, so they will vote for you. So that exchange of ideas, you told them one, I call politics. So all the young people that can be, I will say, you can see Jota Bagazin, I will say, you can see Joe I will say, you can see Adesina Kumi say, I will say, they can only say, I will say, when they come on. But in the street, can you see that? I will say, all the song on the social media, you see that?
The various political
All
parties
of
are
them,
going well
all
with
of
their
them,
campaign.
they are doing well. But the other time we hear that some people fight in the street. You stop it. And the young people are talking to all the youth wing of all the different political groups. I beg you, I hold your foot, I hold your hand. The people who honor them, they say they are the politicians. You one thought that one, they all gather. Some of them are children not here, they are children in different countries going to school. That one power talking. So I beg you.
Let's turn to you now, and whether you have some questions for paralegal Missy Johnson, 0770 907 907 080 907 907. He will answer your questions. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. So all the political parties are doing well.
Yes.
Their messages
They
are
doing well.
resonating.
No problem. I can just all the songs. But when the only I don't like, yes, you must start throwing back. I beg you, I hold your foot. Like young people are talking to. But they can be all right. You go ahead.
We got 50 days to go. Long time, eh?
In how long?
50 days?
In how long? And they were saying, say, yeah, no, in how long? Like, yeah, day after tomorrow. We'll soon go vote.
And the assessment of the National Elections Commission?
The National Election Commission, they can ask those, they can talk. But why I can believe it.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Kennedy. This way calling from Cinco. But what I want to say a very big thank you to you, Kalena Counselor, and I listen to you relentlessly. So I want to thank you. Well, I want you to expand a little bit on the magistrate and what the positive aspect of the magistrate, and before if that person is not satisfied, then that person can forward that case within the court. So I want you to educate the public more also for the magistrate function too as for your own. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for calling. Have a nice day. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you. And you? You got question from Paralegal Omisi Johnson?
Yes, I have some little concern. Council, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. How are you? Welcome.
Uh-huh. Okay, Council, I have some. Thank you for this program. Actually, you have done well for the Liberian youth and also for those of us who actually have interest in the legal system. Council, so I have some issue concerning our legal system, meaning on the police. When you have problem, right? When there's little problem within the community, they will come and take the person and we go to the second, we will detain you and to detain for the next day. And now I'm about to protect you. In fact, at the will of their pleasure, they will release you. So I don't know what you want to do in such a case. Secondly, you get my question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, secondly, I don't know whether you are also in the land issue. The land issue is a big issue. Like mine that are here. I have my father has a land. But then my son, my father died. I'm not having any legal, I'm not having any right to this land. Up to this time, they are having all the documents for me. I don't know what to do. This is what I'm hearing this email. This I want to create before you. But all the documents they do everything for me. I ask them, but they don't get it. So I don't know what to do.
Okay. Just wait, you will answer for you. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
This is James
Ja-
Flomo.
James Flomo.
Yeah.
Let's hear you, Mr. Flomo.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Listen to you very, very. But I want you to really help me because the issue that concerns the Nigeria code and all of the things that you explained is really giving me a problem. Because since for me, since the father and the mother are and the other people really taking advantage over us, doing a lot of things. So I really want you to please take this my number and send me your personal number.
So call your number. Call your number. The legal man will take it. Call your number.
No, this is my number. This is my number I'm calling on.
Yeah, we can see it as the way you want it. Okay, call it to me. Call it. Call your number, my man. I can call my number. Yeah.
Okay,
077
88
88
90
90
55 9.
55 9.
Yeah.
0770 or 0777 or 0770. Which one?
No, 077 88
Or 0778.
Yeah, 0778 with 07788 88
Okay.
90
All right. Thank you.
559.
Yeah, thank you. He will address you. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. All right. Amazing.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
can
so-
respond now. You can
Yeah.
respond and include your closing. in it.
Yes. So let me start with the issue with the quote in heaven. Those are all who can go to church. Now we don't want to both call all Christians. We will believe in Jesus. We believe that God exists. We believe that heaven exists. We know in heaven there is law and order. So on earth, for the government to provide leadership for the people, the government say we must set code to deal with people who can break the law. So at the community level, the first code at the community level before you go to the big code and the magistrate code. So when you go to the magistrate code, the magistrate is supposed to deal with you what the law say. But some of the problem is some of the magistrates know that people don't know the law, so they can bend the law. Now can cause some of the problem at the level of the magistrate code. Why they not to issue really arrest? They can issue real arrest. Real someone say John Brown say you stole you oh implicant who can hear you. That one you not to issue real arrest. Real that one wait when you break the law, that one part you can the government will hold you. But when they issue real arrest for real someone, before you move from the court, bond fee got to pay. And that matter I talk about in bond country, it won the law, it won the bond fee. Now that's one from when the 150 US, 200 US. So where are people studying cocoa, bitter ball, pepper? Where do they get 100 US from? So the other one, as per the matter on the land matter, we got one good law. We call it the Act Against Criminal Conveyance of Land. Now law say that John Bernard was saying one law to Peter Brown, and when you do that, you violate that law. But that law, a week when them pass it back. The government that do it, they should get even tell us the punishment in that law. It say that one, you the surveyor going to survey that land, you must go to survey 10 years. You the man who sold that land, you send it for the second time, you must go to jail 5 years. You the man who buy that land for the second time for that first party, you must go to jail 5 years and you must pay that party who pay the money to buy the land for the third. If that law working, that law is weak. That one the problem we say we sue those 5 police officers. I will call the number, then y'all will know that. Now, R2, R3, R4, R5, R6, R7, they take money from one man who say he got land in Fennel, in Louisiana, in Benjamin, one black man right. So that other case, that one can happen at the community level. Then the other one, he talk about the police. The police supposed to be educating the community. The police can fight crime with all the community. But why observe all the police people they can come? You want to arrest. You want to arrest. Yes. When you don't have an arrest warrant, tell them the commander wants you. But they can be aggressive. The training say you must be persuasive. Persuade me the person that can say no, they will not arrest you. Let you go. They just won't ask you. But when you go, now what the community can follow police, go to police depot. Because as soon as you go there, they'll put everybody in jail. So that's why those are the basically what we are observing. So those are the areas that are providing the public legal education. We like to say thanks for this opportunity. And anytime that you want us to come, we can discuss the issue from different angles. We can take one whole day, 1 whole hour.
So
We talk on crime,
don't
we talk on
so
land and tender relationship, different things we can
yeah,
talk.
I'll call you back in.
Okay.
Yeah, people got problems many ways. You
Yeah.
can tell from the callers, you can sense from the voices
Yes.
that they're going through pain.
Yes.
They're going through terrible times.
Yes.
So yeah, don't worry. I'll bring in Omisi Johnson back,
Yeah.
and then we'll talk at most 30 minutes, and then the rest of the 30 minutes, you
Yeah.
just state all of your concerns. Thank you so much, Paralegal
Thank you.
Omisi Johnson. I
Thanks.
appreciate it that you accepted my invite to come.
Thanks. This is our passion. We
Yeah.
think our people are vulnerable. They are vulnerable in several ways: illiteracy, ignorance, and poverty. They don't know the law. As a result, they are being exploited. They're being denied of their fundamental right, which is against the rule of law.
This is how we go home on Bits and Pieces to return tomorrow if God permits. My name is Sam Andrews, and it's Voice of Liberia 104.1.